Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right, let's start again. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right, we're all here. Welcome to the first Korean Management Institute conference. I want to welcome you all here. But as a professor, what I'd like to do first is ask all the GW students to stand, please. And let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. Have a seat. See how sharp our GW students are? All right, we show off with them here. So I want to thank you all for coming, and we both have undergraduate and graduate students here. My name is Ayman Tarabishi. I'm a professor at the Management Department, and I'm also the Executive Director for the Korean Management Institute. It's my great honor and privilege to welcome everybody here, but also to introduce our president of the University of the George Washington University. I'll keep it very brief. President Knapp, welcome on stage, and the floor is yours. And thank you for coming.
Thanks very much, Professor Tarabishi. And ladies and gentlemen, really is a pleasure to welcome you to today's Summit on the State of South Korea, hosted by the Korean Management Institute of our George Washington University School of Business. And it's always a pleasure to welcome people back to this setting, which is so much of a symbol of what it means to be the largest university in the nation's capital, because of the view it affords of our capital city, and that's why we call it the City View Room. And as I think I had occasion to mention here recently, last time I was here, if you drew a line from the State Department to the White House and another line from the Federal Reserve to the World Bank, they would actually intersect right here in this room. So it gives you a sense of where we're located here. I'd like to acknowledge our distinguished guests, His Excellency Ho Young-an, Ambassador of the Republic of Korea, whom I'm pleased to welcome back to the City View Room for the second time in just 2 weeks, and whom I'll have the honor of introducing in a few moments. He's going to say a few words. And next, Hee-bum Lee, President and CEO of the Pyeongchang 2018 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games, and an alumnus of the George Washington University School of Business. Delighted to have Minister Hee-bum Lee here. And next, Tammy Overby, Senior Vice President for Asia at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. The Korean Management Institute was established in 2015, and it uses its unique location in the George Washington School of Business in the heart of Washington, D.C., to connect with South Korean business leaders, and it offers a variety of programs from executive education to international exchanges with a focus on Korean business and management practices. KMI, as we call it, is just one example of GW's long history of engagement with Korea. We have many distinguished Korean alumni, in addition to our keynote speaker, Dr. Lee. Soo-jae Peel earned his medical degree from GW in 1892, and he was the first Korean to receive an American medical degree. Actually, while he was studying here, he took the American name, Philip Jason, but his Korean name, Soo-jae Peel. He actually married the daughter of the then Postmaster General of the United States, but he's known in Korea for his role as a creator of a national identity in a very powerful way. Among other things, he introduced the first newspaper printed in Hangul, the extraordinary phonetic alphabet of Korea in place of the Chinese characters, which had been used previously. So we're very proud of our association with Soo-jae Peel and that important moment in the modern history of Korea. We also, another very distinguished alumnus of ours is Syngman Rhee, the first president, really the founding president of the Republic of Korea, who received his Bachelor of Arts degree from George Washington in 1907. And in fact, our largest community of alumni outside the United States resides in the Republic of Korea. And when I first began my term as president in 2007, in the fall of 2007, my very first trip on behalf of the university was to the Republic of Korea, where I met with our alumni and many others. And then I returned in the spring of 2000, actually in February of 2008, for the inauguration of President Lee Min-bak, who was another one of our associates who had actually spent time working in as a scholar in our School of Business. So we have another connection with the School of Business and the Republic of Korea. And I think when I went to that inauguration, I remember it was in a very cold February day, sitting on the stone steps. For those who have attended that extraordinary ceremony, I think I was the only university president who was present at the dinner that night. And I expect it was going to be one of the kinds of dinners we have, you know, the balls the inaugural balls that take place in the United States, where there are large crowds together in a hotel room. This was actually in the Blue House, and it was a dinner for just a couple hundred people. So I was rather humbled to be in the presence of the diplomatic community and others to celebrate the inauguration of President Lyman Bach. So George Washington currently has 300 students studying from the Republic of Korea at our university, and over time, more students have come to us from the Republic of Korea than from any other country outside the United States. And George Washington, in addition to its alumni connections, has a long-standing commitment to Korean studies. We're the first university in D.C. to offer Korean language as part of the regular curriculum, and one of the most distinguished members of our international affairs faculty in the last century was Professor Gaston Sigur, who served as Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs in the Reagan administration and encouraged South Korea's transition from military rule to the modern democracy it enjoys today, and he became the namesake of our Sigur Center for Asian Studies. And finally, just last week, GW launched our new Institute of Korean Studies with the support of the Academy for Korean Studies in an event sponsored by the National Endowment for the Humanities. And that institute will strengthen the study of Korea in the United States through a focus on the humanities. So we're covering international affairs, we're covering business and management in Korea, and of course we're also focusing our efforts on Korean history and culture through that new institute, which will complement what KMI does in the field of management. Well, it's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, the Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to the United States, His Excellency Ho Young-an. Ambassador An presented credentials to President Barack Obama on July 18, 2013. He previously served as First Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade, was Ambassador to Belgium and head of the Korean mission to the European Union, and Deputy Minister for Trade at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ambassador An.
Good morning. You can do better than that. Good morning. Certainly you can do better than that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Mr. President, thank you so much. As you rightly pointed out, it was only two weeks ago, that was January 12th, that I was here in the same room. And then one of the things which I really, really love about this room is the fantastic view you have down on the Potomac, down on the mall, down on everything, which count in this town. So thank you so much for your invitation once again. I was coming to this building this morning, and then there were two words which kept on coming up in my mind, which is special relations. Special relations. They were two words which, in fact, kept coming up in my mind as I was coming to this building this morning. Why? Why special relationship? Special relationship between Korea and special relationship between Korea and George Washington University. And then why do I say that? First of all, because of people. And then when I say people, then of course I was listening to President Knapp very closely, and then he was talking about Mr. Philip Jason Saw, who got his degree from this prestigious institution back in 1892. And then he also mentioned about Sigmund Rhee, who graduated from this university back in 1907, and he went on to become the first president of modern Korea. Think about it. Sigmund Rhee, who graduated from this university in 1907, he went on to become the first president of modern-day Korea. Think about your name, George Washington. Who was George Washington? He was the first president of this country, right? And then maybe it is more than a coincidence that George Washington was the first president of the United States, and Sigmund Rhee, who graduated from this university back in 1907, went on to become the first president of Republic of Korea, modern-day Korea. And then, of course, it is already 110 years since then. He graduated in 1907, and then, of course, we are in 2017, so it is 110 years since then. And then during those 110 years, then, of course, there has been tens of thousands of Korean students who benefited from your education. Tens of thousands of students. And then one of them just happened to be chairman of Samsung. This is Samsung mobile phone, right? And then chairman of Samsung, in fact, he studied at School of Business Administration at the George Washington University. And then today, we already heard it from President Knapp. Is there any Korean student? Here you are. You're one of the 300, right? 2 of the 300. So that, in fact, is the special relationship we have between Korea and George Washington University, thanks to people. But there is another reason why I say there is special relationship between Korea and George Washington University. That is because of institutions. When I say institutions, then again, as I already told you, I was here 2 weeks ago, and then the reason why I was here, it was to inaugurate Institute of Korean Studies. That was the reason why I was here 2 weeks ago. But at the same time, even before that, then of course there have been many institutional developments between Korea and George Washington University. And then I wonder if there is any student from School of Engineering. School of Engineering, you are there. Are you familiar with a program called Simon Lee program? Simon Lee is another proud graduate from George Washington University who used to study at School of Engineering. And he donated millions of dollars to the School of Engineering. And then what is happening is there are 50 students coming from George Washington and then coming from Korea University in Korea, which is one of the most prestigious universities in Korea. 50 students every year. They, in fact, come to visit from Korea, they come to visit George Washington, and then from George Washington, they come to visit Korea University for a whole semester. That, in fact, is something which has been happening over more than 10 years. So if you are not familiar with the program, just to try to learn about the program, and then more importantly, just try to benefit from the program. So that's another institution between Korea and George Washington University. And then again, President Knapp has already told us about KMI, Korea Management Institute. And then for that, then of course we have Professor Professor Yoon Park, who in fact has done so much in sharing his experiences and sharing his studies with you at the School of Business Administration, and then at the same time, who worked so much in order to launch and then promote this institute, Korea Management Institute. So these are all examples of institutional development which have happened between Korea and George Washington University. So it is thanks to people, it is thanks to institutions that now we have this very special relationship between Korea and George Washington University. But today, I'm not here in order to make a long speech. I'm here to have another very proud graduate of George Washington to be introduced to you. That is Hee-bum Lee, Minister Lee. He, again, benefited from superb education you provide at George Washington University and spent decades in the Korean public service. And then he, in fact, served as a Minister of Industry, Energy, and Trade in Korea. And he has distinguished himself with his professionalism, with his devotion, with his commitment, and then with a lot of achievements in that very important portfolio for the Korean government. And then what I think is that this is a very important message to be shared with you. He could do all of that, in my mind, thanks to superb education he was getting from you. So this, I guess, is a very important message for the students, George Washington University today. So without further ado, let me have Hee-bum Lee introduced to you, who is going to make a keynote speech for us today. Thank you so much.